Good afternoon to you all. It's really a pleasure to welcome you to the second Adedeji lecture. Last year when we launched this new series, it was the occasion for us to celebrate the contribution of Donald Kaberuka. And I'm very pleased that today we have Ajun Chang as the lecturer. In fact, it's very befitting for a variety of reasons. I'm going to mention some. We have been working for the last 4 years tirelessly on industrialization issues. And a lot of our inspiration has come from the works of Ajun Chang. This contribution has been remarkable in many respects, but what particularly attracts me to his books and his contributions, and also to his presentations. I have been privileged to be participating in some, is excellent mix of history and economics. By bringing to us the experience that other regions, countries have gone through in different stages of their development, it does bring light to the fact that some of the things that we are told as absolute truths and normal in today's world are not quite the way they look when we go into history and we try to understand what happened in these different countries that are serving as examples when they were in similar moments of their economic trajectory and were making similar choices than the ones we are facing. So that is a unique contribution. And I think also we are very privileged by the fact that Ajun Chang comes after Donald Kaberuka, because he has been one of our partners, and the African Development Bank as one of our partners, together with the African Union, constitute the trio. And Madame Zuma also was present in the launching of the series that has initiated this drive for us to focus much more on structural transformation at the continental level in these three institutions. And I'm very pleased that, we are continuing from an intellectual point of view in the same direction with the lecture that we are going to have today. The second reason it's so befitting to have Ajun Chang with us today is because he has been involved with colleagues from ECA. In fact, he has led the production of a book that is going to be launched this afternoon on transformative industrial policy in Africa, which is a companion book to our report, economic report on Africa, on greening industrialization. And the two complete a series of contributions we have been making on the discussion about industrialization in the continent. And it is very happy coincidence that we are having Ajun Chang for both the launching of the book that he has led in terms of authorship, and also the possibility of having him as the lecturer for this series. Another reason I think is so befitting to have Ajun Chang is because we are at the moment where the debate about industrialization is not just circumscribed to Africa, but also to other parts of the world that are revisiting their strategies in terms of industrialization and are giving impetus to a certain number of readings about the contribution that industrialization normally makes for altering the systems of production, the way we look into productivity, and the way we look into some of the developments that have occupied us of late, like the role of trade and the relationship between trade and development, and also the issues of intellectual property and how they influence and impact innovation and technology, and of course the dynamics that we are witnessing in Asia, and particularly the conversion of the Chinese economic model, and as a result, what impact it does have in regions such as ours, but also what lessons can we draw from that particular experience that has been so inspiring for us, not just China, but Southeast Asia. And of course, because Ajun Chang is from Korea, it is excellent that we can also go beyond just China, cover a number of very important lessons from all Southeast Asia, for which he's a real specialist in the sense that he knows not only from literature, from his contributions theoretically, but also knows from emotions, because he was part of growing up, reading and studying that particular reality. This is not my first time engaging Professor Chang in things I'm involved. I tried the same when I was resident coordinator for the United Nations in Brazil, and I could see that he was so inspiring there that by the time Ajun Chang came a second time, some of his books have become a must-read by all diplomats in Brazil, a decision by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the country. So I don't know whether after you have listened to him, it will be a must-read, mandatory for all ECA, ECA affiliates that can be not just staff, but all the people that contribute to the discussions that we are promoting. But I'm more sure that you are going to be inspired, and I think this is going to be a brilliant lecture. Let me say something about the pattern of this lecture. It's not a coincidence that we have created a series with the name of Adedeji. For a lot of Africans, Adedeji is not just an important beacon of intellectual contribution for the development of the continent, but also a builder of institutions. This part of his contribution is probably less known, since Adedeji contributions can be melted in the larger collective of people that he used to lead and inspire. But, I think it is befitting to acknowledge that he was, in the minds of many, if not all, the number one contributor to the Lagos Plan of Action. He was also involved in the Abuja Treaty. And of course, he was also one of the persons that actually created the instruments that now have become ECOWAS or CEDEAO. So he was really someone that has been very relevant in building institutions. And of course, the APRM itself was also linked with the heritage that he contributed to the committees of eminent personalities that were put together by the African Union. He has been really a major force in the debates about Africa's development, when he stood up and had ECA defy the orthodoxy of the time with the alternative framework for structural adjustment. It was not just a proof of courage, it was also a proof of intellectual dynamism. And because we want to continue with that tradition of disruptive thinking, it's very important that we continue to emphasize that we see ECA as truly a think tank. And it is this role as a think tank that is going to make ECA relevant. Of course, we'll continue to contribute to all the intergovernmental processes and the various attributions that are expected from a commission that is part of the United Nations. But what really will make us relevant is not that. What will make us relevant is the fact that we are going to give importance to our role as a think tank. And I will not really be diminishing anything in the extraordinary heritage and contribution of Adedeji if I say that if we can even claim to have such a role is thanks to the example and what he has done when he was in charge of ECA. So for me, he's like a distant mentor, and that's why I'm so proud, not only to have contributed to create the Adedeji series, but also to have here his son, Doyin, that is going to address you, that remembers certainly the first time I went to tell this idea to his father. And, and I remember his words were more or less these. He said, "But what do you want from an old man like me? What contribution can I make to what you are doing? You are the new generation. It's now your turn." And I said, yes, if I take it in a metaphorical sense, and if you are one bookend, I will try my level best to be the other side, the other bookend. Thank you.